Okay, if you ask a geologist why all these different colored crystals accumulate in some, they have no idea. There's no idea why they do that. You see all those different colors? Well, this is when I cut them across. These are crystals. Those are crystals, all these different colored crystals. And different colors mean different transition metals. And different transition metals are found in blood. And it's still able to run through this, this brownish looking stuff, which is literally blood. And that is still being invaded by aqueous solutions, which is watery, and it is continuing to grow these crystals. And at some point, that will be 100% crystal, precisely as this one right here is right now. You see this? That was a heart. And that just got invaded more and more and more until it became completely crystallized. You see, you can see right through it. Now, it's all about the chemistry that it's in when it is going through this invasion process. This might have turned into unbelievably gorgeous colors like an opal, and I'm going to show you one in opal. Or it may have done this, whoops, and turned into like that. I think this might be a liver, but it's either, I'm pretty sure it's not a heart, but I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not certain. Could be a heart or a liver. That's right there, whatever was the entrance into it is there. So it could have been a heart. All right, let me show you what a heart in opal looks like. All right, and here it is. There's a heart. You saw all those different things, and it's the same as this, only this one did not take on colors because it was in, somehow there was no transition metals for that one. This has saturated in transition metals. This one, no. But it is a heart. It's a product of where they were when they were in certain chemistries. That's all I can say. But you can see that's the ventricle walls and all these little heartstrings, and this is it laid this way, and the transition metals are a little heavier than the plasma, so the plasma was laying this way. They cut it in half and polished it. There it is. All right, so don't forget, we're going to see all of these things are different. See this brown here? That's different stuff than this. It's different stuff than that. Different stuff than this. Different stuff than the aorta. Different stuff from the outside coating of the heart, the muscles and so forth. Let's see if we can see all those things. Plus, we should see all the different transition metals that are within the blood if this was so saturated with blood that it could find all of its perfect components in the blood. Because that's what blood does. It has all of these transition metals in it. So if they're in it and it's saturated in that and nothing else, eventually it will become all of the different colors that it wants to be. All right, my claim is that this is basically what that is, only this has turned into quartz. And all of these cavities filled up with quartz because it was in a condition where it didn't have the transition metals. For some reason, silicon filled, because quartz is silicon dioxide. So, what does it look like if it had all of its transition metals ability to penetrate there and absorb? All right, so don't forget, this is a heart, and that's all of the tissues that are in the heart which have specific chemistry. Now, we're looking here at a lung. That doesn't have the kind of specific chemistry that a heart has. It is strictly invadable by, blood and oxygen and so forth. It has a fabric to it, and that fabric is this. It looks just like this. And now, if it is in the right conditions, these holes will fill up with certain transition metals that are within the blood. They will create seed crystals. Let's look at that in the microscope. Okay, we're standing quite a ways off of this lung. You see how big my fingers are, so we're quite a ways off. And you can see the shiny, I showed this before. Every one of those shiny spots is literally a crystal. And all of those different colors are different seed metal crystals. And they happen within the vugs, which are the alveoli of the heart. Now let's get up real close and personal. But you can see how it looks from a long distance away. Alright, let's get up real close. Alright, this is going to be a little hard to do because I have to jiggle it around, because if you look at it face on, it just is too shiny. Now you see all these different colored crystals, and you see up here, hold on, you see these little holes here? There's blood coming out of those holes, and that's why it's real reddish looking. It takes on the color of the transition metals that most prevalent in that spot. Now, again, this is hard to do. I'm sorry, it's too jiggly. But here's what happens if I lay it flat. Well, let's try it and see what does happen. Well, that's not bad. When I lay it flat, though, all you get is the shiny stuff. Which is, and they are crystals. So if you polish those into crystals, they'd be crystals. You could make gems out of them, but obviously they're very small. But you see all this, the blood that runs in between them? That is, when the thing was alive, that was what was surfacing all those little holes, those alveoli. And now they're starting to fill in with the crystals. And they're all different colors because they're all different types of blood. Whatever type of blood just started to grow in those little spots continues, and they'll get bigger and bigger and bigger. Again, it's kind of small, so bigger just means they'll be a little larger, that's all. But they'll fill in all of these crevices, all this bloody matrix in there. Hold on, let me see if I can bring it down so you can see what I'm talking about. The shiny shows it up better. Here's the best way to see it. You see all the dull looking places? That's where blood runs through there. Or in water at this point, aqueous transition metals. And they just keep adding to the crystals. They get another one attaches, another, and they only want the ones they want. That's why when you see them one color, they're a certain color because they don't want the other guys attached to them. Sometimes they'll break in. They call those inclusions. They're included with other things that really shouldn't be there, but they get in there. Everybody has a little way of weaseling their way in. And that's pretty much blood right there. Let's see if I can focus in on that. Amazing, isn't it? Now, just think if this was a creature miles and miles long, and we had one of these things, and it was hundreds and hundreds of times bigger than this. Wouldn't that be something? Okay, these are pudding stones, and pudding stones are lungs. Remember I showed you this lung. It's the same thing. Now, the only thing is, mine still has a lot of blood left in it. Remember, if you see the shiny, you can see all the blood running through there. Eventually, that blood would turn into just the whole thing would be shiny, just like these are. Now, this is another lung. Now, this one is completely gone to pudding stone, but it's a lung. Now, if I cut this across, you would see, hold on, you would see all these are transitioned. There is no blood, I don't believe, left in this. Hope you can see that. But all of those little spots were alveoli. And there's that tab at the bottom that holds all the interstitial strap into bodies. There's another one on this one here. I think I showed this the other day, or I've shown it quite a few times. That tab right there locks this in to another piece of tissue. And I've shown this, well, I might as well show it real quick, and that's it. Actually, before I do that, let me show you this. I normally bring this over to computer area, but my arm's shot. I have to have a new shoulder put in. Now, this is along as well. This is pudding stone. It's sort of reversed. The alveoli filled up with mud. And the structure turned into basically like limestone. There's a foot. These are the no-toes. That's one right there, and there's one. Oh, there's the other one there. Different styles. Okay, this is that's that flap I was talking about, and this is now called interstitium. You see this layer here? This is a continuous fabric that runs through the whole body. They tie into organs, into muscles, into tendons, into everything, and they're the coating, they're the fabric, they're the membrane. That is your immune system, is all that stuff right there. Only the good stuff should be able to penetrate, and the bad stuff is kept out, and bacteria does that job. That's a whole other issue of health, but this is the tab we're talking about, and I can show it to you in an actual living creature right here. It's exactly the same tab, you see? I call it a fascia latch, because this is basically fascia, or you could call it interstitium latch, because that's what they're calling it now, interstitium. Which is only since 2018 they even realized that they're calling it a new organ system now, never been known before, because by the time they autopsy them, they're flat as a pancake. That's Devil's Tower. That is what's called a wrinkle zone. That is blood from an artery. These are the tendon fibrils. Let me show you what happens when tendons snap, because they're under tension. You end up with a wrinkle zone. Alright, here it is exactly what happened at Devil's Tower. And you can even see these little bumps if you look around the edge. There's your wrinkle zone. And it's broken straight across, flat as a pancake. And that's because, don't forget this, I'll show you another couple shots of Devil's Tower. Remember these little bumps that come around, all the little fibers, and then the wrinkle zone. There it is right there. Alright, remember I showed you that bump coming around? That's not from some volcanic thing. These are the back of the calcaneus. Go back and look at that other shot I showed you. And this is the abrupt transition, and that is why you have that wrinkle zone. And wherever you see green stuff growing, it's growing where there was blood. That's a place where the artery was coming out. I'm going to leave it at this. This is where the rest of his body fell over after the flood subsided. He was stuck in the mud primarily, and the rest of his body just fell over as the flood subsided because he was drowned and floating, but stuck in the mud. They were huge. They were just absolutely enormous. That's what it was written. Miles tall, some of them. Okay, I'm just going to leave you with this shot right here, which is, I don't know, what do you think it is? If you look at this, take a little time, just stop the video, and think about what you see in here. That is a tendon. And that, my friends, is a tendon as well.